good in the camera.
Ah, yes, yes, yes. Should have made this quick adjustment real quick. All right. Welcome to Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome.
One of the things I want to brought to you by is I gotta remember, man. HMS. That's a shame, right? It's a shame when I gotta remember my own little logo for the things I'm trying to do. One of the things I'm trying to do is do some consulting work with most garbage companies so I can get people to come together. I'm already doing it with Go Green. I'm also doing it with Talking Trash, and I've been doing a little bit of thing with Waistcoat. Now, I realize I've been doing it for so many people. I can do it for anybody.
Including yourself.
Exactly.
Right.
So what better way for me to come together and get my way out there? So again, you'll see a website coming up pretty soon. And again, all these different companies I'm working for, you already see me and you'll hear me. But I got a lot of things coming. So next, I got to get back to this person that come to me for over 7 years. This man come in the studio each and every time with a smile. Craftmatic, how you doing today, big baby?
I'm doing good, Smooth J. Doing good, man.
I don't know, man. You're coming here smiling each and every time, baby. What's going on?
You know, man, fighting the good fight of life, but got to keep joy in your heart, you know?
Joy in your heart. So got something special going on? I need to know about.
Nothing special, man. Just the life movement, you know. Listen, we all going through this thing we call life. And it's high tide, it's low tide, it's good days, it's hard days.
I have them.
And you know, you can let life take a hold of you and control you,
right?
Or you can be in control of life. And the way you be in control of life is to be in control of yourself. You can't let your situations and circumstances take your spirit. You can't let it take your faith. You can't let it take your smile. And so I'm doing good, man. You know, I'm living the same life everybody else living. However, I'm gonna keep this smile on my face, man, because I got, first of all, I got the joy of the Lord.
Right.
And you know, that's my peace, that's my health, that's my harmony. So I'm doing good, bro. How you doing, man?
Man, let me tell you, kind of rough, but good, man. I had sinus cold like last week, man. Pressure in the front of my face.
Right.
Felt like an alien. It kept slobbing down, man. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So the pollen is seasonal for me, and it's usually always in the spring. So it hit me pretty hard. But again, I was able to get through it. It wasn't all that great. But one of the things I had to say, I couldn't smile, but I definitely was humble. I was humbly going through it. But again, I knew what it was. And I think knowing it alone made me feel rejoiced to know it's just not another sickness, a plague, a COVID.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, this is seasonal. So, and I had to prepare. You know, I have some medicine.
Yeah.
And I'm not quick to take it. So I waited, and I probably waited too long. But I waited, but then I started taking it. Then I started taking it faithfully along with my other medicine because our health is our wealth.
Yes.
So I had to start looking at things a little bit smarter than I did in the past. And I really feel like that was one of the key things that got me through it faster. Didn't have to go to the hospital. Didn't have to do anything major over the counter. But again, I had to faithfully take the medicine and then kind of push back a little bit. Probably should have wore a mask a little bit more just for the pollen, because again, it helps with the pollen. And I didn't. That was one of the things that I did, but I noticed I can do a little better.
Yeah, you know, Jay, what's interesting, I'm finding a common denominator between, you know, our stories right now. It's just the sign of the times. It is. For most people I know are going through seemingly way more tougher times than normal. People are having to make new decisions. People are, you know, under extreme levels of pressure and stress in their job, in their career, and money. You know, we're seeing relationships go south,
like to the border.
You know, sometimes these long-term relationships. We're just seeing a lot of challenge in the world, and I don't think that's by coincidence. I think that something truly is happening in the world that is kind of working against mankind, kind of working against our spirits. And I'm just encouraging everyone to keep the faith, stay strong during these times, keep your head high, keep your vision strong, continue to talk positive to yourself, and you know, don't let the sign of the times get the best of you.
Say it.
Because this too soon shall pass. I do believe that the world of normality is changed forever. You know, and it started with COVID.
Right.
The world will never quite be the same again. I do believe that our God is in control, and I do believe that He is administering some form of healing. But sometimes, you know, when you go through a healing process, some people have to go into surgery to get healing. You know, some people, you know, just think about the process that you want to get healed because you got a bad knee or you got a bad heart or something else is going on. You kind of have to take a step down in order to be able to take 2 steps up. And that is kind of the nature of life sometimes in healing things. If you're in a bad relationship, you may have to go through a serious breakup, and you may have to lose some friends and some things and stuff, and you may have to be alone for a while before you ever get to the healing. But when you ask for the healing, just know that there's a process to it. And I think that's what we're all going through. I think that's what we're all experiencing. And in fact, I think we're going to talk a lot about that today. Probably a great time to introduce ourselves.
Yes.
This is Bar Talk with Jay. My name is Craftmatic. This is my boy Smooth Jay
in the building.
And of course, we are here to liberate your minds and souls with a great dialogue.
Yes.
Tonight, we're just going to chop it up over a subject. In fact, the subject is dealing with hard times and breakups.
Okay.
And it seems to be running rampant throughout the world. And so we want to address it and just talk about it in a healthy way, in a way that gets beneath the surface of things. And as we do, we want to find some healing. We want to find some vision. We want to find some optimist attitude in the process. So we're hoping that this can be somewhat a therapeutic process, you know, just talking through what some of the difficulties may be and how to overcome some of those difficulties in life can be healthy for us all.
Yes.
And so we want to thank you folks for being here with us tonight. This is just our opportunity to be leaders in our own community and, you know, and just really try to nurture the spirit of all who are willing to listen and come into agreement with us. So again, we want to thank you for being here. And of course, we always start the show off with a prayer.
Yeah, hit him over the head. Hit him over the head.
You want me to pray?
Yeah, man.
All right.
We all need it.
So let's just open up with a prayer, and we're just going to hand this off to the Lord and let him do his good and his perfect work, right? And so, Heavenly Father, we just come into your presence right now.
Yes.
In your awe, in your power, in your grace, and your mercy, just to thank you for who you are. Just to thank you for your knowledge and for your gifts and for your presence in our lives. We come today, Father, to bring and to talk to you about hard times and breakups. We're ultimately talking about unfamiliar spaces. We're talking about uncomfortable spaces. We're talking about places where we don't know the answer and where we don't know what to do. And sometimes we can even look over our shoulders, Lord, and not even know what has happened and what has taken place to put us in the positions that we are. But we ask, Father, for your knowledge and for your wisdom and for your understanding and for your intelligence tonight. Feed us some information, Lord, that will help us to get through hard times. Give us, Lord, the knowledge of inspiration on how to overcome setbacks and hurdles and maybe pains and uncomfortable places and spaces in our life. We know that you have all the answers. We know that you are the answer. And so we come to you tonight, Lord, and ask that you would give us a conversation here tonight that would liberate our minds and liberate our spirits. We don't just want to talk about the hard side or the painful side and the challenging stuff. We want to have the knowledge of how to overcome and how to get through and how to create breakthroughs and how to understand how to keep ourselves strong in the midst of the storm. And so, Lord, we just thank you for your awesome presence tonight. We ask that you would continue to bless us with your word tonight and give us this inspiration, for we know that you are the answer. And we pray all these prayers in your son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Oh, yes. Amen.
Amen.
Had me deep in thought with that one.
Yeah, man, because, you know, we're attempting to talk about the reality of life,
right?
You know, what's real. You know, we're not. You know, we don't want to dance around. Sometimes when you have conversations with people in the street or people in the world,
right,
that whole idea about misery loves company starts to place. And we all start talking about how bad it is and how hard it is and what they did to us and what they said to us and how they're treating us. And that's not necessarily the kind of conversation that we want to have here tonight. We want to have a conversation that builds bricks in your armor. We want to have conversations that, you know, strengthen your sword. Conversations that allow you to move forward, even though there may be some fear in your heart. To move forward, even though there may be some discomfort in your spirit.
Right.
We are all, I think the world in general is going through hard times.
Yes.
I think the world in general has experienced enough hardships and hurt feelings and broken hearts and breakups for the next several millenniums of mankind. You know, it seems like our world is just riddled with people unequally yoked and unable to get along and unable to show each other love. And you ask yourself, you know, where's the world going?
Ooh.
How am I supposed to deal with life? I have gotten to a place in my life where I'm like, maybe I don't need to bring somebody special into my life.
Okay.
Because it seems like that no matter how special they are, it seems like our difficulties or our differences always seem to come to the surface. And as much as we may care about each other, the differences seem to cause the breakups. They seem to cause the separations. And now, you know, I've gotten to the place in the last several years where I'm not even mad about it anymore.
I know,
you know, I'm at a place where there's a reason and a season. And just because we're not meant to be together forever, don't mean you weren't a beautiful person. It doesn't mean that I was supposed to take something from you or you were supposed to take something from me. Right. It means that we come together to experience some goodness. And then once that goodness is no longer there, no longer available, no longer, you know, rearing its beautiful face, then it's time to separate. And the separation is what's so hard.
Yes.
You know, maybe if we weren't so attached to these people, we could understand that life is meant to be a flow, just like cash flow. If we were to treat our relationships kind of like cash flow comes
and goes.
It comes and it goes. And maybe people are to come and go.
But you try to hold on.
But we try to hold on because, listen, there's nothing better than having somebody on your team.
I agree.
There's nothing better than having a special someone in your life who, you know, you can just talk to, you can call, somebody you can even think about just throughout the day, somebody you can plan to do something special for, somebody who you can feel that agreement with, that like-mindedness for. There's nothing like that, you know. That it truly is the greatest, one of the greatest wonders in all of life. When I think about all the special people who have been in my life, there was magic in every single one of those people. There was magic in being with every single one of those people. But we try to hold on. And perhaps it's not meant to hold on. You know, we need to kind of talk about that a little bit more. But again, we're focused tonight on dealing with hard times and breakups. And where would you start the conversation, Jay?
Man, let me tell you, I feel like hard times might be coming with all the stuff that's going on social media right now. But how do you really prepare for that? Like I said, there are certain things I did early on because they always said stuff is coming. I can't prepare for everything, but there are certain small practices that I put in place. Generators and things of that nature I already have. Again, making sure I got extra firewood and some other things just in case I can boil water and do some things. These are things I keep in my mind, but also I keep a little cash tucked away in my vehicle. And this is just in case something happened, like misplaced my wallet. I ain't gonna say lose. We're gonna say just misplaced it. You know, it's amazing that you keep your cars on you and you don't really keep no cash. Now you're in a position where you can't get no gas, you know. So it's just preparing yourself in ways that just in case some things might happen, not looking for it and wanting it, but being prepared just in case. Having a little bit of cash flow on you, not depending on your cards all the time.
Okay.
Just in case stuff go down and you got to use cash. They say cash is king, but right now we already know cash ain't really worth what they say it is. But not having it will put you in a very big disadvantage. And watching out for each other. You know, when these things go on, you know, I feel like getting closer to my brothers. I want to call them and make sure everything going good with them. And again, it's not like I wouldn't anyway, but right now it just seems like a time that we got to draw closer because if things happen, we normally try to come unify to make the situation as best we can because we don't know what's all going to happen. So that's just one of the ways I look for that. One of the things I got to also tell you is like when a breakup. Hardest thing in the world, because again, you sacrifice so much of your time, and that sacrifice of time is what hurt. Because normally when you with somebody, it's a sacrifice to be in a committed relationship, to be in a marriage, engaged or whatever. That sacrifice will hurt you. You know,
if it doesn't work out, if it doesn't work out, it feels like you wasted so much time, right?
It's a ton of weight on you because now you realize it, and then you wonder, how can I get back to a happy place? Because we accidentally, and I say accidentally, is we put people in a place that's what makes us happy, and that's not necessarily true. And that's where the hurt comes from. But you got to get back to the happiness that you had before them. And that's one of the ways to get past the person that you're with. And it's going to be hurtful and it ain't going to be easy, but I remember that I was happy before them. And you need to be happy before you meet somebody, okay? Because then you're going to rely on them. And then when they leave, you're going to feel like you can never be. And that's the biggest lie. Yes, you can. Because you have God. You have something in you already. So let that light shine. Follow his guidance, his will. Figure out what's for you, your purpose. Live within that. And then when you meet somebody, they see that. They see that greatness in you. And hopefully that might be enough. But guess what? Sometimes people come as a season and they're not meant to be a long term. But when you remember what God has for you and you get back to him, even in them dark times, he never forsakes you. You might say that person did, or you might do the blame game. Right. I say get past that and get back to what it was, you. And then sit yourself down for a minute. Find yourself some quiet time and realize that you probably didn't ask the questions that I try to ask myself. God, is this something that you have for me? God, is this something I need to pursue? You know, remember that partner that you got riding with you, besides the partner that you're trying to choose to ride with you. God always had you. And then when you keep these thoughts in mind, it helps you get through things that you never thought you can get through, because it's going to be hard. And I wouldn't tell nobody that it's going to be easy. I like to tell you, when you get a good practice, it tends to get a little easier through time. And that's something that you automatically feel it hurt you.
Yes.
I lost this with this person. I was planning on doing this, this, and this. Okay. You planned it. It's not probably going to happen. So what are we going to do? Crying about it is not going to solve anything. But when I sit down and I start rethinking it about what all I can do, now I'm planning back to a happiness, back to a purpose, back to me. And guess what? I might need to take more time to me. You got to take time to heal too. And that takes time.
Yeah. You know what I love about what you said, Jay?
What's that, bro?
You were basically suggesting, whether it be hard times or breakups, you were talking about preparing and rethinking.
Ooh, I like that part.
Just think about the nature of those two, preparing and rethinking. One of the challenges I think we all have experienced is that we really didn't ask God.
Key.
We didn't, you know, if you meet somebody new in your life, you kind of just let your human senses
say it.
And even sometimes you might, you know, your gut feeling might be like, okay, this is a good person, you know, they're doing right. But you didn't really take it to the Lord.
Nope. Or your ego. Man, she's so fine.
Yeah. She's so fine. You know what I'm saying? I can't believe I attracted somebody like this. You know, let me hold on to this. And as beautiful as she or he may be on the outside, when you get deep down to the inside, and sometimes just below the surface, right, that you find a very different person, right? So, that's one of I think that's a profound way to deal with hard times / breakups, is that we need to begin moving forward in life with God first. Yeah. And that means asking him, what do you want me to do? Is this person, should I be spending this time with this person? What should I look out for with this person? What is it okay to share with this person? What is it okay? I mean, I'm spending lots of time. Lord, is it okay that I be spending this kind of time? And he may say, yeah, it's good to spend that kind of time, but don't let it consume your sense of self. Ooh. Right? You all think about everyone who's gone through this, and every grown person has gone through the challenge of relationship and a breakup. And what happens is we begin to some degree diminish our sense of self in that relationship. And we start letting go of who we are so that we can bridge the gap with this other person. And I'm really not sure that is the way the Lord wants it. I really believe that, I remember having conversations with women, and it seems like this was the definition of a relationship. And I have come to know, just through wisdom and experience, that this is binding. This is consuming. This is, one can't breathe like this. But if two people were to come together like this, now everybody can grow and be individuals and yet still honor the other person in a relationship. That we don't have to cling ourselves to one another. That if I cling myself to you, somebody's going to have to let go of their personal mission and vision. Yeah. Somebody's going to have to start becoming something that they're not in order to satisfy the other person. And we all know that it doesn't take long for one to say, hey, I'm tired of giving, or I'm the only one giving in this process. And next thing you know, we see selfishness coming out, or we see people being depleted. I just believe that two people should come together. And that's where maybe rather than looking at love, we should be looking at friendship and companionship. And that's how I've actually started to look at the world of relationships over the last few years, is that I'm not concerned about love. I'm not concerned about relationship. I just want to know that you are my friend. I want to know that I can communicate with you, that we can talk about anything, that you can lean on my shoulder. I'm not going to go and tell the world what you told me, or maybe, some of your past hurts or past mistakes. That I need somebody who's pure in communicating with me and maintaining, secrecy, so to speak. Right. I don't want you to throw me under the bus in front of your friends. I don't want you to put me in front of your family too fast. I just want us to have our own little space. We could be having the greatest time together and nobody even know that we are spending time together. Nobody even know. It's almost like there's a fear of getting too attached too fast to the wrong thing. And anybody who's been through some troubles gotta understand what I'm talking about.
Oh, I definitely hear you.
One of the things I love about our world, it's kind of a double-edged sword, but one of the things I love about our world, the women are strong. Yes. The women are strong, and they're getting it in. They making life happen. They raising these kids. They starting businesses. They're fruitful. They're just so strong in the world, right? And so they have to be careful. Even my daughter is in the same scenario, right? That you have to be careful about who you introduce into your life. Yes. Because you don't want to introduce the wrong person too fast into your life, and next thing you know, they're damaging the path that you've already created for yourself in some way or another. Maybe damaging your heart, maybe taking your things and stuff, using your things and stuff. So, but if you can keep that person who has their own and you have your own, and you two just enjoy the fruits of life together, that I think that's kind of the ideal relationship. I think that's where God would say, okay, that they aren't becoming your God.
Right.
They aren't becoming your idol.
There you go.
I'm still your God, and they're your friend. And if you put that relationship into the right perspective, I believe God will bless it. He'll bless it over and over and over again. He'll strengthen it because you are keeping everything into perspective. You know,
I like that. I like it because, again, and I think this is where it get lost, is when you find that person that you just find this attractive, and and again, you didn't ask God. You know, you just went off the principle of she looked good,
right?
And then we'll look good, and then you start dating and you start doing things, and then again, like I said, if you putting God first, she should be loving the God in you. You should be loving the God in her.
Right.
So at this point, y'all got a focus point that y'all both can walk toward.
Right.
Compared to each other, because you're gonna get tired of each other. That's just typically what happens.
People will get tired of each other, and that's a reality that we all need to you need to understand. That
but if y'all can see what y'all purpose is,
yeah,
and again, His will, and y'all working within purpose,
yes,
it is something easy for Him to bless.
Yes,
I can see them prayers being poured down to and
yes,
into with no problem.
Yes,
but when we do selfishness, it's a selfish move of thinking of yourself and what good this person gonna do me. Then you're not really working together. It's all about what you're gonna do for me. It's not the I love you. It's
right.
how I use you.
Right.
You know, I said I love you,
right.
but I just use you. You got to cook for me. You got to do this for me. You know what I'm saying? It's a laundry list of things that you're doing for this person, and now all of a sudden you feeling used.
Right.
Now that person is pulling back because they feel like, where are you adding? You know, you used to be fun.
What are you adding? Yeah.
You used to be fun. You used to come. We used to do things. Now I got to do everything for you. I got to cook for you. I got to clean for you. We don't go out. We don't do anything. So it's easy for somebody to turn on.
Yeah.
But when you really working within order, you have a lot to talk about. You have a lot to do. And then y'all have a lot to plan.
Right.
At this point, it's not boring.
Right.
Y'all still probably going out. You might not go out as much because right now, cost of living is kind of hard.
Right.
You know, these restaurants is killing our pockets. But you can still do smaller dates. You can still do things. And you can still keep things entertained. But when you got people that automatically want to put you in a boat of distrust or not feeling like you're doing all the right things, it puts pressure. Now, these pressures people don't want to look at, but these pressures boil.
And
after a while,
yes.
And remember one thing about the frog is an experiment, okay? You take a frog and you put it in boiling water, he'll jump right back out.
Right.
But you put a frog in boiling water and you warm it up slowly, you'll boil it to death. And that's what happens when it comes to pressure. People keep putting things on you and putting things on you. And it gets to a point where you are literally boiling yourself to death, and it's called stress. But no one wants to look at it that way. It's easy to blame.
Right.
It's because of what you do. But
right.
It's not about how we work our way through it.
Right.
It's always about you. You can't be selfish in this world anymore if you're trying to be in a relationship. It's a sacrifice of time and of each other. But I will say, at least having God first, you have time where you are not just about you. And it's about His will. It's about understanding that.
Yes.
So you have something in front of you just besides that person.
Yes.
And that's why I said a lot of times how you heal from a lot of different things is going back to the source that made you happy.
Yeah.
You got to get back into your prayer. You got to understand we're not perfect. You got to forgive that other person. You cannot harvest or think you're going to get a harvest from a bad seed that you planted and then you putting bad stuff with it. Okay. That's why weed and everything grow. You got to let that go. You got to let a lot of things go, and it's not going to be easy. You know why? It's going to take time to heal, and then you're going to get a better harvest. We're speaking negatives over things and then you expect the positive, and it's going to be hard to do.
Yeah. And I want you folks to just listen to the perspective that we're talking about. We're not actually talking about the breakup itself. We're really talking about how to minimize and eliminate breakups, right? And that's what I love about this show is that we just somehow find a way. It's like the Lord is moving through our dialogue here, and He's saying, okay, you know, I don't want to talk about the trash of your life. What I want to do is I want to make sure that you don't create no more trash. What I want to do is make sure that you maintain good, healthy, positive relationships. And if you focus on a good, healthy, positive relationship with me, then you'll never experience trash again. Right?
Say it, Craig.
Because I truly believe that there are no coincidences in life. If you meet somebody and you have feelings for them and you like them or you find something in common, it's important that you just don't attach yourself to them. Enjoy what they bring to the table from where they are. And we don't have to judge people because everybody's got a hard past. Everybody's been in trouble or did something or made some mistakes, you know. And so there are people who are coming out of their pains and out of their mistakes, and they're still good people, but they aren't necessarily ones that we are to attach ourselves to. And one of the things that I've experienced recently is a young lady came into my life, friend introduced me to her. You know, referrals are the best, you know, sometimes because they know both parties.
Right.
And
but you gotta watch them sometimes. They know they're nutty, but they ain't telling you.
Well, yeah, you gotta be careful of that too, right? However, I got introduced to a young lady and we just was talking on the phone, and you know, for a couple of months we were just communicating. And we found that we have the Lord in common.
Okay.
And the next thing you know, she asked one night if I would pray for her. I had mentioned I was a prayer warrior, and I was like, sure. And when I start praying, I kind of lose it. Wow. You know, I go deep hard in the paint. And she said, I never knew you could pray like that. And so I became a different person to her. It's almost like I elevated in her mind and in her heart because of the way I prayed. And so we were just beginning to understand one another. And all of a sudden, you know, she was interested in romance. And that's not a bad thing, right?
No, I'm just trying to know what all you say in that prayer.
You finna blow it, Jay.
I was just wondering.
So
you went in deep.
Yeah, I went in deep into prayer. But listen, we have a tendency to fall in love with the character of good people.
Oh, yes. I agree.
You see? And that character doesn't mean that we are to dive into the flesh, right? It meant that, oh, you know, she told me a story about her kids and something she went through and how she handled it. And I was like, oh, my God, that's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? That's a strong woman. And I fell in love with her for that. But as we started entertaining the romance, there became this thing of I'm expecting you to call. Where were you at yesterday? And why hadn't I heard from you? And I'm like, wait a minute. It's changing.
Jealousy,
it's changing, right? I don't want it to change. And so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna stay away from romance and let's just keep the good that we got.
How did that work out?
Well, it took some fumbling and it took some banging against the wall a little bit, but she gets it now.
All right.
She understands it, not because I told her, but because she was starting to experience the same things that I was starting to experience. Like, I don't really want to be checked about where I was and who I'm talking to. And you started to be that. I want my friend back. But so before it gets too far, let me reel my friend back in and let's keep it right there. And now we have the understanding that that's what we are. We are friends. We could probably easily have crossed over into romance and all that goes with that, but we pulled it back. We dialed it back because we've already been through those hurdles too many times. And you know, one of the things that it took me a long time to get was that if I really wanted to keep a woman close to me, I really have to kind of stay away from the sex part. I have to push some of that back because it doesn't take long before she's wanting to tie me down and I gotta be hers and gotta be mine, which, you know, probably is the righteous thing to do. Correct. So now as a big boy, I'm like, I don't need that stuff to enjoy a woman. I don't need that stuff to have a long and lasting relationship. In fact, the most longest and lasting relationships never encounter that part of our world. So, and that's big boy stuff, you know, you got to be mature, you know, totally. to experience that,
totally.
You know, to even be around a woman enough and maybe even sleep in the same bed without sex, you know, you got to be big boy.
Yeah, it's real big.
You got to be big. I mean, it's possible, Jay, and I've done it. You know what I'm saying?
I've done it as well, but I ain't gonna see him keep on doing it. But I will say that some of the best moments I ever had is not just it's before sex ever.
Before sex ever.
Going out with her, learning her,
yes.
being on the phone for hours,
laughing,
yes. talking, yes. engaging with each other about things that she want to do, I want to do.
Right.
It reminded me back when I was in school.
Right.
And this back with the rotary phone. I mean, you only had loud one line. You had a call waiting. So you would get on the phone and you'll be on the phone all night. Of course, your mama gonna pick up the phone. Well, I got the phone and get you off. And that was my heart breaks because I was so in tune to just talking.
Yes.
I wasn't meeting up. I wasn't getting with them. This is like fresh in middle school, getting into high school. This is just conversation.
We are talking about minimizing breakups here.
And man, when I had them and we spent so much time together, I realized getting older, it's some of the same things I still enjoy. Now, don't get me wrong, the physical touch and all the rest of that, after having it, yes, it's something that I like to do, but I tell you, just to going out and just being subtle with a person,
just
enhancing.
Yes,
man,
yes.
But see, some people gotta have it their way,
right?
So it gotta be this way. They want pound town,
and it ruins it sometimes.
Yeah, it does, because mentally, you can do all that, but we're not building mentally,
right? We're building emotionally.
That's
when you start touching, and you know what I'm saying,
and that's just a chemistry that you do want. I get it. I understand there's some people
it's
that
good
ain't having it because of what people are doing.
It's so good.
They get mad, they don't want to do it.
Right.
All this, I feel sorry for y'all, because truthfully, y'all need to dial that all the way back, because if you really enjoyed that person, and it's something like what Kraft was saying, you dial it back. When you get back to that person that's disrespecting you and talking to you and dealing with you, then you will want to. Now you back in a position of great sex compared to just doing it for whatever reason to hurry you up or whatever. All that is being recognized.
Yeah. And I tell you, I wish men could understand this even more. And I can't say that women is the culprit, even though they may want sex as much as men. But men, if you dialed it back, if you dial that sex things back and trying to get it, you're going to find that she's going to want to give it to you. Right? She's going to want you more, and she's going to respect you more. She's going to like you, that and I'm going to tell you, there's just something beautiful about reframing. And, I want to let it go at that, but there's something beautiful about holding back a little bit so that you can build something good, from the inside. You can build character, you can build attitude, you can build understanding, you can build trust, you can build friendship, you can build all these things without that emotional attachment that comes with the physical part, right? Mm-hmm. Now, we haven't spent a lot of time on hard times, and we only have a few minutes here left in the show. When you are in the middle of the storm, mm-hmm. it is imperative that you look up
all day long.
What more can we say than that? That only, I say look up. I love this phrase and the understanding in this conversation, what because when you look up to God, mm-hmm. God can see what's ahead of you. Mm-hmm. God can also see what's behind you. See, he knows you inside and out. And he knows that in the midst of this storm, you're about to face a wall. Mm. You're about to face a valley. You're about to face the unknown. And he already knows how you're going to respond. Mm-hmm. And so if you go to him and you ask for help, you ask for right direction, you ask for wisdom, you ask for understanding, you ask for the truth, mm-hmm. you ask for inspiration, that he'll fill you with all the good that you need in order to overcome this, right? And so, when I say look up, it's about look to the hills from which your help cometh. Mm-hmm. And the hard times may not be so hard, right? I mean, it's like he can fill you with this inspiration that says, I'm okay with being broke. Mm-hmm. I don't need things and stuff. He can bring love and people and family and friends. He can bring those people closer to you right. when you run out of things and stuff. And sometimes it's the love and it's the joy and it's the peace that he can reveal unto you to help you go through those things. In fact, you can't go through hard times alone. That's part of the problem, is that We don't prepare for hard times by having a great relationship with the Lord. And then we end up in the middle of the storm by ourselves. You can't go through hard times by yourself. That's what destroys the inner man. It creates doubt and worry and complaining and blaming and gossip, and it creates fears and all these inner troubles. The inner troubles will tear a man down. They'll tear the spirit of a man down. You know, I go so far as to talk about people who consider harming themselves. Maybe sometimes people who consider harming other people, that when you get to that level of life pressure, it's because you're dealing with it all on your own. And man is not meant to be left alone. Man is meant to be nurtured by his brethren, nurtured by his family, nurtured by his loved ones, nurtured by the ones he trusts. And so hard times just might not be so hard if you take hold of what you have. Right? They say if you hold on to what you have, you'll get more. But if you believe that you don't have anything, then you'll lose what you have. Right? That's a word from God. I think the Lord is kind of saying, and even though I'm saying this, I'm talking to myself. Right? I'm not saying this from the mountaintop. I'm saying this from a place of, wow, Stacy, you know what? The Lord is inspiring you. Yeah, you need to begin to do some of that for yourself, right? This world is going to experience greater darkness. And I think, Jay, what you said is that we have to take a hold of what we have.
Correct.
And we have brothers, we have friends, we have neighbors, we have the church. We have a lot of people who can just sometimes nurture our spirit and keep us strong and keep us healthy and keep us feeling appreciated, keep us from feeling alone, and from feeling like, we're out here by ourselves. That is the greatest way to overcome a hurdle and a hardship, right? Yes. You ever been in a hard place, a tough place, and then you get a call from an old friend, and the next thing you feel like you got a friend?
Oh, yes.
And you're talking about old times and how you did this. And next thing you know, somehow they may be leaning on you to help comfort them through their hard times.
What I love about them, that's all they call them for.
That's all they call them for.
Never asking them for money. Never asking for anything.
Right.
It was like, man, you ran across my mind, man. I just want to make sure you was all right.
Yeah.
And we just start chopping.
Don't that feel good, man?
It really feels good because you're so used to somebody asking you or begging you for something come later. And it's like they always want some crazy intro for they can just get to a beg.
Right.
And it gets annoying. And again, you feel like you're not cared for. You're just used. So now you get a phone call from a person that just remember you from high school. And man, I just happened to run across your show, bro. I just wanted to see how you was doing. And we just chop it up. And then at the end of the conversation, man, I love you, bro. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later. I might not talk to you for years.
Yeah, but we never really criticized about the time apart.
Right.
We just made up
that's
for
real
the best
friendship.
We can.
Yeah, I think that's real friendship because
it really is.
But the people who I love the most, I don't talk to them a lot.
No.
And I'm not sure the reason, just life moving, but I know they're doing good.
Yep. I
know they fighting a good fight. If they not going good, I know they strong. I know they doing what's necessary to get through their hard times and their struggles. And, maybe years before we come back or months sometimes before we come back, and they'll tell me about their pain, but they'll also tell me how they got over it. Yep. They'll also tell me that, man, I've been going through this fight, but I'm so close. I'm so much closer to the Lord than I ever have been. And I know that is the answer.
Hello.
And perhaps they may be going through that thing, and you may be going through that thing because you don't have that relationship with the Lord. We have to have a foundation, an anchor in our life. And I believe that God is the anchor. If you hold on to the anchor, then the turbulence can't disturb you. You know what I mean? If you truly hold on to his loving presence in your life and have faith that it's going to be okay, and know that you're not alone, and to know that this too soon shall pass. We got to put that word in our spirit because that word strengthens us, and that word shows us a vision that all will be well. And I'm going to stand strong until it gets well. This is not for not. This is not for no reason at all. This is to strengthen my character. This is to get me ready for my blessing. This is to take me to the promised land. And I'm just going to prepare for the promised land. I don't care how bad it hurts. I don't care how hard it is. I don't care how big of a struggle it takes. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to stand in this gap and I'm going to wait on the Lord, because I done seen how he's blessed people over and over and over. Everybody you know who has been successful, they got a hardship story. And you might not know what it is, but next time you meet a successful people, tell them to tell you about their hardship story. And that story is going to strengthen you to stand in your gap when the storm comes for you, when the hard time comes for you. You are not alone. Look, the Lord is watching every single one of us. He knows our hearts. He knows our desires, and he plans to give them to us. But he's not going to just hand them off, because we wouldn't appreciate that. He's going to prepare you for them, so that when you stand in that light, you'll be standing on your feet girded with strength, able to manage the gifts and the gifts that he's given you and the fruit that he has provided for you in your life. People who are rich oftentimes could care less about riches, right? Because they have been pruned. They know that a good friend makes everything. They know that peace of mind is everything. They know that, having all this money is great, but now I got to fight to protect it. I got to fight the wolves off. I got to find one. I got to sift through hundreds of people just to trust one or two who's going to protect me and my family, who's going to trust me, right? So sometimes we don't understand how the world works, but the Lord does. And whatever you're going through, he's got you. But you got to look to the hills from which your help cometh. And I'll promise you, ask him what's going on. Ask him how to get through it. Ask him to help you through it. Ask him to prepare you for tomorrow. Ask him to strengthen you for tomorrow. Ask him to liberate your mind with positive thinking. Ask him for greater faith. Ask him for wisdom. Ask him for understanding. I truly believe, and kind of in closing, and I'll let you say whatever you need to, Jay, after this, but I believe that what the Lord was saying to us in Proverbs, he was saying that the only thing you don't need things and stuff, and you don't need money, and you don't need people, and you don't need more time. He said the only thing you need is wisdom and understanding. You need God's knowledge in order to get to the bag. You need God's knowledge in order to get to the love. You need God's knowledge in order to overcome this hurdle. You need nothing else but wisdom and knowledge. And that wisdom and knowledge will align you with your greatest truth, so that the doors of heaven can be opened in your life and the gifts and the fruits can be poured upon you. As the Lord said, overflowing, right? Overflowing blessings will come into your life when you get the knowledge and when you get the wisdom. And so that's what life becomes. Life becomes the opportunity to grow in knowledge and wisdom. And once you get the knowledge and wisdom, all the gifts of the Spirit and all the gifts of life will be poured upon you. But the reality is, you won't even appreciate the things and stuff. You won't even appreciate the substance gifts. The only thing you'll appreciate is the knowledge that you can fight through and get through anything. There's nothing. When you become invincible in your spirit, you will have arrived. And that's what the Lord is trying to do, is make you invincible in your spirit. And I don't know, anything else to add to that, Jay?
Man, you make it very difficult to answer. That's what you know that, man. But but you're speaking profoundly, and you're speaking within some of the things I love to tell you. I go back to, and like you said, the stuff. Have a better understanding of God's will.
God's will.
If you get back to God's will and understanding you have a purpose, then you understand it ain't the stuff that you're searching for. It's for the things He wants to give you, for you can fulfill your purpose.
There it is. I always said this. Inside of the acorn is the oak tree. And for those of you who sometimes I get people who push back on God's will, you can't quite understand it. You can't quite figure it out. Inside of the acorn is the oak tree. That means before you were born, there was something you were to do. There was something you were to be. There was something you were to accomplish. And all life is attempting to do is to get it out of you.
Right.
And once you figure out who you are, you'll strive to be an oak tree whether you ever get there or not.
Rooted, booted, and strong.
There you go. There you go. Listen, this has been Bar Talk with Jay.
Yes.
My name is Craftmatic. This is my boy Smooth Jay. And we hope you have enjoyed our programming tonight. You know, none of this is planned. We come off the top of our dome, but we do allow the Spirit to work through us. And I believe somebody's going to be healed and somebody's going to be strengthened through this message. And I'm just so grateful to be here tonight with Jay. We've been doing this 7.5 years, and just continue to speak positivity over people's lives and in the world through this wisdom and understanding and this warm dialogue that we're having. Please come back and join us. Listen to the words that we're saying. Find a way to grow from wherever you are, for whatever time frame it is. We don't know if it's during the live show or if it's 20 years from now, but when you're hearing this, we mean for inspiration to come to your spirit. We are here every Thursday from 7 to 8 Facebook Live. We are on all the other major platforms. Please like, share, subscribe, and continue to come back and get some of this great wisdom, this God-filled wisdom that we bring to you. And never forget that we are doing this, and we have been doing this for years because we love you, we appreciate you. And with that, we are out.
Yes. Another one right down the hatch.
Bruh. That feels so good, man. That feels so good, man. You can put that one where I can see that tonight. It's off.